on Street Sport Television. New life for an old hearse.
Because it's one of only one that we can find.
Mark Bard's magnificent muscular Mustang.
Old school. You bet.
Hot rubber for a Hummer lover on fire.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, eat your heart out.
Ford's legendary 5-liter V8 rides again.
Mustang 5.0, the return of the legend.
From the producers of the Classic Car Auction of Toronto, CCP Auctions, this is Street Sport Television with Rick Walker.
Hey everybody, I'm Rick Walker. Welcome to Street Sport Television. Today we get right into the good stuff. It's a fresh restoration of a 1939 hearse owned by John McCullough. We found this car at the Steve Pluckett Fleetwood Country Cruise Inn in London, Ontario. John, this is a LaSalle, which is sort of just a step below what was a Cadillac. What year is this?
1939.
1939, and it's completely restored. Who did the restoration?
Stan Urett, Classic Coachworks in Blenheim, Ontario.
Now, there must have been some real challenges involved in putting this thing back together, because I think it was pretty rough when you got it.
Yes, the side doors there was no post to even hold the side doors. Stan had to really work to try and come up with a pattern for the doors to work. And he's a miracle worker at times. It took him 6 years to do it, but it was well worth it by the time he got it done.
Why would you want to own a hearse like this? Is there some, I guess, history that you're here trying to preserve here? Is there what's your personal reason for it?
Well, I was a funeral director. We owned our own funeral home for 35 years, and I always wanted an old funeral coach. And this one came up, and the fellow said it was in really good shape. His version and my version are two different things, but it was still worth preserving it because it's one of only one that we can find in a three-way. There's about 9 other ones in end loads, but this is the only three-way we can find.
And so for the folks at home who don't understand exactly what that means, what is a three-way?
The casket will load in either side door or the back door, so that it's called a three-way. They don't make them anymore. They haven't made them since 1984. This is the last year they made them. And this one was originally built for Troll Funeral Homes in Toronto, Ontario.
And obviously, if it's that rare, a lot of the pieces must have been fabricated, reproduced.
Most of the pieces were there except for the wood. The wood was rotted out of it. But all the metal parts were there. The curtains on the side are made out of cast aluminum, and they were all there. So that's what really helped.
And you did all of the woodwork inside yourself?
Yes. It took me about 350 hours. I had to make a copy of the other ones and then redo them all over again. And because I wanted to try and keep the price down as much as I could and help out, and that way then I feel I contributed to it.
What other features came in this car?
This car came with a 1938 banjo steering wheel, which is an odd thing. It came with a wood grain dash. It comes with 2 storage pods, one for the spare tire and one for the church holders, or the casket holders, which in 39 was only a 1 storage pod. The back window has a split back window, which was used in 38 but not in 39. And it's also got a gold colored interior, which was really, really rare, but that's the way Trolls ordered their coaches.
Well, congratulations on a great restoration. It's obviously in good hands as it makes its way into the future.
Well, we hope so. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thanks, Rick.
That's one beautiful ride, but I'd like to postpone my ride in that 39 hearse for as long as possible. It's big, it's very orange, it's hot. It's a Hummer owned by Tim Townsend in Niagara Falls, Ontario. The wheels are also hot. So hot, the tread pattern on them is in the shape of flames, just like the tattoos on Tim's arms.
Hello, my name's Tim Townsend, and this 03 Hummer is my ride. This Hummer's got a 6-liter V8 engine that pumps out over 325 horsepower, and that's why you got to have good rubber on all 4 corners. And here are the numbers. It's a 17-inch rim with a 315/70/17 tire on it. This is a custom rim and tire package from Autostyle in Niagara. The XD Series revolver rims and the Nitto Dune Grappler tires. I chose the Dune Grappler Nitto Series tire because of the flames, and I think that's awesome. The wheels and the tires are just an extension of my personality. Go with my tattoos. The rims and tires are just beginning here at Autostyle, and we plan to put a lot more accessories on this truck. I got my bling at Autostyling. Arnold Schwarzenegger, eat your heart out.
For those of you wondering why Arnold Schwarzenegger should eat his heart out, it's because Arnold, of course, drives Hummers. Keep your hands off that remote. We're going to commercial break, but we'll be right back with more SST.
Hi, I'm Savina saying, don't go away. There's more SST with Rick Walker coming your way.
SST is brought to you by Lucky 7 Auto Parts. Don't gamble with your ride, roll with Lucky 7 at lucky7ent.com. And Original 2 Pizzas Chatham. 40-minute delivery guaranteed or $5 off. Call 519-355-0050. Original 2 Pizzas Chatham. Hey, welcome back to SST. Let's head to Toronto, Ontario. That's where we hooked up with my good friend Mark Bard, who built this incredible, award-winning 1970 Mustang. You have a 1970 Mustang, but man, it is no stock Mustang. You've done a lot to, I guess, personalize the car and really put a lot more punch into the motor. Let's start with the drivetrain. Tell me what you've done. What is it? Is it a 351?
Yeah, it's a 1971 351 Boss motor, supercharged. It was dynoed at 709 horse. Got the 4-speed top loader and a 4 9-inch rear end.
Mark bought this car in the 70s and spent 32 years rebuilding it.
Mark, you've spent so much time making sure that everything fits perfectly. Tell me about the process of putting the car together.
Well, pretty well have to build the whole car and then make sure everything fits the way you want it to fit. Take it all back apart, start painting and priming parts, and put it all back together again.
So that's really the right way to do it.
Yeah, you don't want to find out after it's painted that the windshield don't fit or the chrome don't fit or stuff like that. That's not the time to do it.
Now, the color of this car, it looks like a Mustang color, but it really isn't. And it's very unique because the light catches it in very unique ways. Why? What's happening with that?
It's a pearl paint. Once the light does catch it, especially the UV outside in the sun, these lights don't do much for it, but outside the light highlights it on a yellow, and then as it goes away from the light, it goes to an orangey to a red color. But it's all because of the pearl paint that's underneath, the pearl base.
It has American racing rims.
They're the old style Americans. They used to come out in the, you see a lot of them in the Corvettes. in the late 60s, early 70s, but yeah, it's a nice wheel. Air American was one of the only companies that would make the offset that I wanted, so that's why I went with that wheel too.
It has Mickey Thompson tires. Mark has added a personal touch to the interior of the car.
Yeah, the interior is pretty well stocked. I changed out the seats. They were from a Eagle Talon. Everything else is pretty well stocked. I wanted to keep it that way with the white interior because it was a low production number. They only made 450 with white interior. But I did add an AC to it, so just in case it does get a little hot. But, yeah.
Well, you're at an indoor show now, so we can't drive the car, but I'm sure we'll see you on the streets this summer.
I'll be around, you bet.
All right, thanks for sharing the car with us.
You bet, man.
I'm pretty sure if we talk nice to Mark, he might actually take us for a ride in that car, but we'll save that story for another day. If you're a Mustang fan, you know the 5-liter V8 is back. Well, we got to test drive the new 5-liter Mustang GT. Here's what we thought. This is the Mustang GT 5.0. We test drove the GT last year, and I thought, wow, this just couldn't get any better. And then I drove this one. So I guess if there was one thing on my wish list with this car, it would have to be better fuel economy. It's a little bit thirstier than I thought it was going to be. Besides, imagine what kind of gas you'd be burning if you were driving a Ferrari. And just think of all the money you're saving by not buying one of those exotic European sports cars. You got all the horsepower you need right here. The best thing about this car is that it's tight. There are no rattles, no squeaks. Okay, so maybe you want to upgrade to the GT 500 with the 5.7-liter, 500 and some odd horsepower engine. But I mean, really, how much horsepower do you really need? Is it retro? You bet, but she drives like the best of the best new sports cars. So this is how powerful the car is. The low-profile tires give you tons of grip. When you take off in first gear and you're already in motion, if you really stomp on it, you can break the back end loose. That's a lot of horsepower. So this 5-liter engine replaces Ford's 4.6-liter power plant. And I gotta tell you, I just love it. It gives you a nice deep throaty growl when you step on the accelerator, and it's just packed full of punch. The interior is finely crafted. There are lots of nice little touches like lights behind the door lock switches so you can see it at night. The door sills also light up and spell Mustang. It's a really nice touch. Even the shifter knob just looks mean. So the bottom line is this: to get this kind of power and this kind of refinement in any other brand of car aside from some of the other North American pony cars, you have to spend a whole lot more money. These Mustangs with the 5-liter engine are truly a bargain. Mustang 5.0. Yes, the new Mustang GT is one hot car, and that 5-liter engine lives up to the 5-liter legend. Cars Cars, they are the ultimate bug control tool. A new study by a Dutch biologist confirms what everyone already knows. Cars kill bugs. But the numbers? Well, they're truly staggering. The study used 250 drivers in the Netherlands. They drove their cars a total of 30,000 kilometers over 6 weeks. During the test period, the dead bugs on the front grills and bumpers of the cars were counted. The number of bugs killed, 17,836. That's a lot of bug guts. But the numbers get big fast when you start doing some math. Based on the study, 3.2 trillion bugs are splattered on the fronts of Canadian cars annually. And in the U.S., and the number jumps to 37 trillion each year. Factor in the black fly population in Northern Ontario, and we think the estimates are low. Just about every small town right across North America now holds at least some kind of car show during the summer months. Why? Because they're great for the community. They generate revenue for charities. They bring the community together. Well, Blenheim, Ontario is no exception. In fact, it's right in the heart of Canada's classic car capital. That's why we went on down to see what their new car show is all about. Welcome to the town of Blenheim in South Chatham, Kent, Canada's classic car capital. Blenheim Classic organizer John Sakachi says this is a small town that is doing big things with a brand new car show.
John, what inspired you to start this wonderful auto show?
We believe you can only put your best effort forward, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to put our best effort forward and make Blenheim part of that capital, classic car capital of Canada.
They don't call this the Blenheim Classic Car Show for nothing. Only vehicles built before the mid-70s can be displayed in the main show area. At the Blenheim Classic, the key is quality, not quantity.
And is there a specific group of cars you're targeting for this show?
What we decided on was to go with 1973 and older vehicles, being up to the muscle car era, and they would be unmodified.
What do you have to do to put together a show like this? Where do you start?
What you have to start with is a dream. And that was my dream. My dream was to see 110 cars downtown Blenheim parked on an angle with the front end facing the main street. And as you can see by the wonderful display here, I believe that's what we've achieved here.
Expecting big things from Blenheim in the years ahead. Stay with us, there's more SST just around the corner.
Hi, I'm Martini, and when we come back, we'll show you the amazing photography by Sean Scott Images on SST.
SST is brought to you by Lucky 7 Auto Parts. Don't gamble with your ride, roll with Lucky 7 at lucky7ent.com. And Original 2 Pizzas Chatham. 40-minute delivery guaranteed or $5 off. Call 519-355-0050. Original 2 Pizzas Chatham. Hey, welcome back to SST. We're off to Toronto now with SST correspondent Martini, who interviews Sean Scott, a remarkable photographer who really puts a new twist on HDR photography.
So, Scott, your images are spectacular. Can you tell us how it's done?
Well, actually, it's a technique called HDR. It's high dynamic range imaging, and what it is I take 3 photos at 3 different exposures, and we stack them on top of each other, layer it out a little bit to allow the actual detail to be there, and it shows it, takes out the shadows, brings in the highlights, and makes it almost surreal. That's what it is.
So, does this technique bring out more than meets the eye?
Well, yeah, because I see a lot of things differently. I see a lot of beauty in stuff, and I see that I like to see the best in everything. So with this technique, it brings out more detail. It brings out things you normally would not see in a photograph, like being able to, because a lot of my photos, you've got a car and you've got the sun in the background, and anybody knows that's a photographer. It's impossible. And how I see these images because how they're finalized is how I actually see them when I'm there. It's just the process in my head. It's just really weird. I can see it, and I take it home, and the final project is just it's what I see. It's great.
So is this a form of self-expression to you?
Yeah, in a way, definitely. I'm very articulate. I'm very passionate. That is my main ingredient with my work, is passion. I just don't stop. I've got to go until I feel good. Like, I'll work 27 hours on a piece, and if the smallest detail I don't like, I'll scrap it and do it again. Yeah, it shows me, actually. It does. And people that know me, and I'm a very humble guy. I'm not into it for money, fame, or anything else. I do it because I enjoy it. It makes me feel good.
So how can we see more of your work?
I do have a website. It's www.SeanScottImages.com, and it's SEAN, Scott Images.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. Your work is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, friends, we're out of time. So until next time, I'm Rick Walker reminding you, when you can't get to the car show, we'll bring the car show to you. Catch you next time right here on the next edition of SST.
Maverick Multimedia Production.